Let's talk about trading with margin. You see, when used correctly, margin can be your best friend, and when used incorrectly, it can be a disaster. Leverage is a double-edged sword. It can work for you as well as against you. So right now, I want to show you the responsible way to trade on margin. So let's get started here. Let's talk about margin. First of all, what the heck is margin? Well, it actually means that when opening a trading account, you can open a cash account or a margin account. So what is the difference? Well, with a cash account, if you put $10,000 into the cash account, it means that you have $10,000 in buying power, meaning that you can buy stocks and options for $10,000. Now, when you have a margin account, this is the difference. When you're putting $10,000 in cash in there, the broker will actually lend you another $10,000, so you're getting $20,000 in buying power. Now, let me show you exactly how you open a margin account. And I want to show it to you with tastyworks because that is the broker, as you can see, that I personally use. So I have 4 active accounts here with tastyworks. If you would like to have more information on them, there's a link in the description, rockwelltrading.com/tastyworks. You see, if you want to open another account, and this is where, if you go to rockwelltrading.com/tastyworks, it basically takes you right here where it talks about the account. So, and it asks, what kind of account do you want to open? Is it an individual account, an entity, a trust, or a joint account? And do you want to open a margin, cash, or retirement account? So cash and retirement account, this is where the broker does not lend you money. So whatever cash you have in there, this is what you have in buying power. But when you use a margin account, you're getting a 2-to-1 buying power. So let's talk about what is buying power, because there's also 2 things that you need to know when it comes to buying power. So the first is there is buying power for options. And buying power for options is always non-leveraged. So if you put $10,000 in cash, even in a margin account, it means that you have $10,000 in buying power for options. And I'll explain to you in a moment why that is. And then we also have buying power for stocks. And here, this is where margin kicks in. So $10,000 in cash will give you $20,000 in buying power for buying stocks. Now, there's also something called portfolio margin. And we will talk about this in just a moment. But I first want to show you exactly what it means here to have the buying power for options and to have the buying power for stocks. So I want to give you here a very specific example, and we are looking at the example of Apple. And first of all, we want to look at what happens if you want to sell. Let's say you want to trade the wheel, and let's just say that you want to sell the 150 put for Apple. So here's the deal. What does it mean? It means that if you're selling the put, you might be forced to buy Apple at 125. And for each option that you're sold, for each put, you have to buy 100 shares of Apple at $125. So this means that you would have to bring $12,500 to the table, right? Now here's the deal. When you're selling options, the broker is already giving you a discount. So let's see how much the broker is charging us if we want to sell a 125 put for Apple. So I'm just going here to Apple, click on trade. I'm just choosing next week's expiration because at this point it doesn't really matter. And I will sell one put. The price doesn't matter right now because all I want to show you is how much buying power is needed. So as you can see, the buying power that will be reduced from your options is 2,202. So as you can see, if you are buying Apple at 125, you would have to bring 12,500 to the table, but here the broker is only charging you 2,202. Now again, we want to assume a $10,000 account because this is what many people are starting with. So on a $10,000 account, theoretically, you could sell 4 of these options. And for this, if we are doing this, so let's just go back here, go to edit order and say, let's actually sell 4 and see what buying power effect it has. So we see that the broker would charge you $8,795. So on a $10,000 account, at first it seems that you have enough margin for this. Wrong. Don't do that. So this is where we talk about the responsible way and the irresponsible way to do this. So when you do this, this would be irresponsible. So here is what I think you should do. On a $10,000 account, you're actually getting, what did we say earlier, $20,000 in buying power for buying stocks. So you have $20,000 for buying stocks. So if you are selling one option, see, and you would get assigned, then you would have to buy stocks for $12,500. And you still have $7,500 left, right? So this is why you only sell one option. And even though your broker will only charge you $2,205, right? If assigned, you would have to bring $12,500 to the table. The good news is you have that because the broker gave you $20,000 in BP, buying power. So this here is the right way to do this. And the right way means that you're not over leveraging yourself. So here's what happens if you would have sold 4 options and got assigned. Well, in this case, you would have to bring to the table 4 times $12,500. So this is $50,000, but you only have $20,000 in buying power. I abbreviate it right now with BP. So there's a difference. So if you take the $50,000 minus the $20,000 that you have in buying power, you are $30,000 short. And these $30,000 become a so-called margin call. And these are the dreaded margin calls that you sometimes hear traders talk about. And a margin call means that right now you have to wire the broker $30,000, which you probably might not have, right? And if you don't do this, he will sell 3 times or 300 shares, yeah, so that you're still fine that you have less than the 20,000. He probably sells a little bit less, so because he wants to make sure that you're just overcoming this shortage. Is this making sense thus far? Okay, let's talk now about this portfolio margin. What the heck is the portfolio margin? Well, the portfolio margin is for bigger accounts. And when I say bigger accounts, it really depends on the broker. You see, some brokers request at least $100,000 in your account. Others request that you have at least $150,000 in your account. And even others request that you have $175,000 in your account. It really depends on your broker. Now, however, if you have the required minimum in the account, you can apply for portfolio margin. And why is this interesting at all? Well, portfolio margin basically means, again, it depends on the broker, that you are getting a 5-to-1 leverage, or some brokers even offer a 6-to-1 leverage. So what does this mean? It means that if you have, let's say, $200,000 in cash in an account, it becomes $1 million in buying power, right? Or depending on the broker, it could even become 1.250 in buying power. So now you have a lot of buying power. And again, you have to use this responsibly. Just because the broker is giving it to you, you shouldn't use all this. So the same principles, for me personally, the same principles here apply than using a 2-to-1 margin account. I personally use this excess buying power when things go wrong, when I need to save a trade that is in trouble. So this is when I have to fly a rescue mission. Trading on margin. How do you use this responsibly? Well, first of all, it is super important that you understand what margin is, what buying power is, and then that you also understand that your broker is only charging you a small amount when you are selling options. Don't use this, right? I mean, don't over leverage yourself, because when you do this, you're getting the dreaded margin call. And when you're getting the dreaded margin call, you have to either wire money into the account, and this is pretty much right away. The broker usually gives you 24 hours. Some brokers might be generous and give you 48 hours, but usually it is within 24 hours. And if you don't wire the shortage to your broker, he will sell your shares until the margin requirement is met. So you lose full control, and you don't want to do this. Anyhow, has this been helpful at all? Because if it is, do me a favor and click on like. And if you enjoyed this video, you might want to also subscribe to this channel, hit the little notification bell, because this way you get notified whenever I release a new video. There will be probably right now popping up a few more videos on the screen. Feel free to take a look at this.